guys, this is ImbaTrader and my question for you is, did you know that having just $50 in right strategy can start bringing you a significant income on a daily basis? Today I'll show you how I made almost $3,000 out of $1,000 in little over 5 minutes. I'm making this money with binary options where you trade currencies on forex markets, and all you need to do is to predict whether the course will go up or down within the next minute. There are various trading strategies, and first one I'll reveal in this video is called martingale principle. Using this principle you trade the same amount, $10 for example, every time the position wins. But in case if you lose, you multiply your bet by 2.5. If you lose again, you do the same, and even if you have a series of losses, all you need is just a single win to get all your initial investments back and even make a profit on top of that. 86% here means the average options profitability, and after that you return to your original bets. Okay, now let's check out how the trade in itself works. I started with the $100 bet on my $1,000 account. The white line here is the purchase deadline and red line is the option expiration line. So our first bet is winning and we just made $186 out of 100. So since there is a decreased trend, I assume that the graph will continue declining. So I will proceed with the full bet this time, and my advice for you guys is to make bets as close to the white line as possible, so there is less time for things to mess up or change drastically. And we are lucky again, one more winning bet. So now I'm seeing that there is a sharp fall, and as a rule there should be a reverse movement following it. That's why I will proceed with the rise bet, $100 bet, and let's see if it's going to work out the desired way. And looks like the mix of intuition and experience are bringing us another 186. Okay, so I decided to double my bet in demonstration purposes, so I could show you how quickly you can gain profit on the platform. Usually I stick to the same bet during the trading session, but this time I decided to speed the things up, and we are winning another one, $372 profit. Where else, guys, will you be able to get $400 as quickly as with the binary options? I will proceed with the rise bet, and here on the IQ options platform there is a huge list of the assets that you can trade. Just pick the one from the list and make sure it's somewhere above 80%, 372. So we are at the point of $600 of the pure profit, and let's wait till we get closer to the white line, and I'm proceeding with the rise bet. Just a couple seconds left till we get to the order expiration, and another lucky bet for us, 372. We are at 1774 mark, and I'm increasing the bet once again from 200 to 300 solely in demonstration purposes, just to save you time and show you how quickly the revenue can be generated here. So looks like we are losing this one, and I will apply the martingale principle I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I'll multiply the bet by 2.5 and proceed with the 750 bet. So if we win this one, we're gonna return the money that we lost during the previous trade. If we lose, we're gonna multiply the bet by 2.5 once again. Alright, looks like we are lucky and we are winning this one. We just returned all the invested money and we are getting back to the $300 mark, ladies and gentlemen. Rise bet. So whenever you're ready to start trading on the binary options platform, I suggest you to start with the demo account, because there you can trade fake money on the real market until you get more experience, until you feel comfortable, and only after that you can go ahead and proceed with the paid account. And another rise bet, but looks like we are losing it, and I will apply the martingale principle once again, multiplying the bet by 2.5 and making the $750 bet. Let's see how it's going to work out. Just a couple seconds left. If this bet wins, we are going to return the money that we lost in the previous trade. And luckily for us, it's working out perfectly. 2700. Hey guys, this is ImbaTrader, and my question for you is, did you know that having just $50 in right strategy can start bringing you a significant income on a daily basis? Today I'll show you how I made almost $3,000 out of $1,000 in little over 5 minutes. I'm making this money with binary options where you trade currencies on forex markets, and all you need to do is to predict whether the course will go up or down within the next minute. There are various trading strategies, and first one I'll reveal in this video is called martingale principle. Using this principle you trade the same amount, $10 for example, every time the position wins. But in case if you lose, you multiply your bet by 2.5. If you lose again, you do the same, and even if you have a series of losses, all you need is just a single win to get all your initial investments back and even make a profit on top of that. 86% here means the average options profitability, and after that you return to your original bets. Okay, now let's check out how the trade in itself works. I started with the $100 bet on my $1,000 account. The white line here is the purchase deadline and red line is the option expiration line. So our first bet is winning, and we just made $186 out of 100. So since there is a decreased trend, I assume that the graph will continue declining. So I will proceed with the full bet this time. And my advice for you guys is to make bets as close to the white line as possible, so there is less time for things to mess up or change drastically. And we are lucky again, one more winning bet. So now I'm seeing that there is a sharp fall, and as a rule there should be a reverse movement following it. That's why I will proceed with the rise bet, $100 bet, and let's see if it's going to work out the desired way. And looks like the mix of intuition and experience are bringing us another 186. Okay, so I decided to double my bet in demonstration purposes, so I could show you how quickly you can gain profit on the platform. Usually I stick to the same bet during the trading session, but this time I decided to speed the things up, and we are winning another one, $372 profit. Where else, guys, will you be able to get $400 as quickly as with the binary options? I will proceed with the rise bet, and here on the IQ options platform there is a huge list of the assets that you can trade. Just pick the one from the list and make sure it's somewhere above 80%, 372. So we are at the point of $600 of the pure profit, and let's wait till we get closer to the white line, and I'm proceeding with the rise bet. Just a couple seconds left till we get to the order expiration, and another lucky bet for us, 372. We are at 1774 mark, and I'm increasing the bet once again from 200 to 300 solely in demonstration purposes, just to save you time and show you how quickly the revenue can be generated here. So looks like we are losing this one, and I will apply the martingale principle I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I'll multiply the bet by 2.5 and proceed with the 750 bet. So if we win this one, we're gonna return the money that we lost during the previous trade. If we lose, we're gonna multiply the bet by 2.5 once again. Alright, looks like we are lucky and we are winning this one. We just returned all the invested money and we are getting back to the $300 mark, ladies and gentlemen. Rise bet. So whenever you're ready to start trading on the binary options platform, I suggest you to start with the demo account, because there you can trade fake money on the real market until you get more experience, until you feel comfortable, and only after that you can go ahead and proceed with the paid account. And another raise bet, but looks like we are losing it, and I will apply the martingale principle once again, multiplying the bet by 2.5 and making the $750 bet. Let's see how it's going to work out. Just a couple seconds left. If this bet wins, we are going to return the money that we lost in the previous trade. And luckily for us, it's working out perfectly. 2,700.